beautiful people. Welcome back to the Mrs. Best Reviews channel. I am Mrs. Best. We have our friend, well, my bestie. I want to say our bestie, but I guess we could share. We have James from Watch Your Mouth Reviews, who is here to help us recap. Hi.
Y'all can have me as y'all bestie for this video, but y'all got to give me back to her. So that's how I feel.
Don't return me to sender. I cannot. Consider liking the video. Consider subscribing to both channels. Shout out to everybody watching from Watch Your Mouth Reviews channel as well. Hey. And James will be back live on that channel for Next Gen NYC on Thursday. I'm going to keep saying it so I remember, because I keep asking him every Tuesday if Next Gen is today, and he's looking at me like,
right after my interview, y'all. So we really getting it through.
That's a good thing. Shout out to you. Good things in the sky for James and his interviews, y'all. But this episode was titled "The King of Ibiza." Let's just jump right into it. Jack has a plan, and he reads a statement to Leah and to the group, and it's a statement that relates to how they will address what's going on with Leah should anyone have concerns. Jack, you paid attention in school, and this is why you work in corporate America. The hardest part of corporate America, in my opinion, is going to be, I would say, LA, San Francisco, New York. The corporate Americas in those areas are like brutal. He comes from New York. He definitely shows that he understands it, because this is what you're supposed to do. Put out a statement, have something to address the people about the concern, which is Leah's coochie and it being spread around on the clock, off the clock, intense with the homeless, not toothless. Okay. Leah is sharing it with everybody. And this has become problematic. So they came up with a statement, which was smart. They probably should have done this earlier on instead of taking over the agency. But the statement was kind. They explained that there's been something that's come to light. They acknowledged the accolades and the many families that she's worked for. And they literally used it to kind of hype her up and to be accountable. Now, of course, because accountability is involved, Leah got upset and didn't like the statement and was pissy. She tried to tear it down. Bitch, what are you doing? Ooh, I'm not supposed to curse, but I have already. But what are you doing? What are you doing? Because you're mad at him for writing a statement and trying to address a situation that's impacting their ability to make money, but you're not doing anything to make it better. You're just speaking and throwing in everyone's face that you brought them out there. But what are you doing to solve this problem? Because even if you fire everybody, you still have to address this. And I don't think Leah gets that. But she tried to get it to Maya. And Jack was right. Leah is handling everything immature. She does what every girl did when we were 13 years old and told we could not date that boy. She stormed off and she slammed the door. Now, Sydney and Olivia go to check on her. And of course, Leah played the victim. She was rude to everybody. And that is why Tamaya made a comment and spoke out and up against her, because you're not just going to be punking people and thinking you could talk to people however kind of way you feel, because they have to now solve a problem that you didn't tell them about. And there was no reason for you to say that. Now, yes, this all comes back to Olivia, because she shouldn't have spread it. But why would you say that to her? Like, why would you say that to her? That's something I would have kept to myself. But yeah, she has zero accountability. She just proved why she shouldn't be in charge, storming off. How did you feel about that first scene of the statement and all of that?
Let me be honest with y'all. I feel like for me, once again, you shouldn't have said anything. That was nobody's business. That was nothing that should have been said to anybody. But the fact of the matter is, you told somebody, it got around the group, and now it's going down. So now you can't get mad because they now want to retaliate. At least they're doing it in a way where it's not messy, it's very professional, and they should be setting some sort of guideline with you. They should be doing this because we can't trust her now. Like, she has lost all the trust. She's lost all of the credibility that she could have had from the beginning. And not only does she lose credibility, but she also shows that she is not even in the least bit remorseful for what she's doing, which is affecting all of them, or could affect all of them.
That's true.
Yeah.
You have to care about how others are impacted when you are in charge of them. You just do. Give me and James the business, okay?
Yes, please give us all the resources and we'll correctly place everybody, but I'm not doing nothing. I'm not cooking nobody food. I'm not picking up nobody's babies, and I ain't changing no diapers.
No,
You
and
go-
that's a good point you brought up too. Because Leah, this is your agency. You have graduated being a nanny to help others become that. You could have been training people, supporting them. Ugh, hot mess express. Now, later on, Leah gets a referral from the current family that she is working for, which tells you, while she's like, I have all these connections. No, you don't. If you have a referral from the only family that you're working for right now who just got to Ibiza, you don't have those connections. I think you ran through them. But she did exactly what Jack suggested, which was ask. Now, in the previous episode, Jack had suggested, why don't we ask the families we've worked for and built up a good rapport with? Why don't we ask them if they can recommend us to people? Obviously, we can't ask the G's, but we should be asking them. And Leah had made that seem like it was the dumbest idea just for her to do the exact same thing and getting a referral. And Jack asks Olivia why she is extremely nonchalant about the whole situation and why she has not asked the three dads for a referral. And Liv claims she don't want to choose sides, but I'm like, weren't you just crying about your rent, homegirl? You was just crying about your rent and why y'all need jobs. Now, part of getting jobs is getting referrals and you're not asking for them, which makes zero sense. Makes zero sense. So I didn't understand Liv. You cannot choose sides while also asking for referrals to help the agency. If anything, since you don't want to choose sides and it matters to you to stay loyal to Leah, asking for a referral is a way to stay loyal to Leah because it's still her agency and her name that's on it. So you're helping her agency to do well and get people in spite of the fact that she is not deserving and is highly unprofessional. Like, Olivia, how dare you start all of this and then say, I don't want to choose sides. Girl, you chose a side when you ran and taught and spoke. Okay? When you ran and spoke. If somebody tells me not to say nothing and to keep it private, I'm keeping it private, especially if I know that exposing that could impact my job. That
Not only
already
that, not only impact your job, but also impact your friendship with her too. If the friendship is legitimate, because y'all were in the room silently together, nobody heard you guys except for the cameras. You didn't have to say anything. You could have
preach.
kept your loyalty to Leah like you're supposed to. You're quote unquote her friend. That's what pissed me off about her, is that the fact is now when the going gets tough, now you want to be like, well, I don't want to choose side when you were all gun ho about making sure things moved accordingly when it came to Leah. Because if you didn't, you wouldn't have said anything.
That's the truth. That is the honest to God truth. I love it. I love it. The family, later on, they have a family game night, I guess. And there was a comment made about a doll that Tamaya likes and keeps with her and brought with her. The doll belonged to Tamaya's grandmother while she was in hospice. For those who are unsure what hospice, palliative care, they are different things, but it's generally care for people who are either they're sick enough to where they are guaranteed to have an early demise. I was trying to find a way to say that in the monetized way because y'all know my mouth. I'd be like, they going to the upper room. Um, but hospice is generally where you go to receive care and aid. Kind of, what do they say? To pass away with dignity is what I would like to think of it as. I have worked in hospice before. I got out of it because it was, I don't know how to explain it. It messed with my mental health. You bond with these people who are kind, but you have to recognize that every person that you're serving, you know, as their nurse, they're not going to be here in a month, 6 months, a week, you know, so it's sad. Palliative care is something similar. It's just finding ways to keep people comfortable who have, you know, diseases and symptoms that they cannot get relief from. So it's like a safe way to get that. I work in healthcare, y'all can y'all too. But I've definitely understood why something that anyone who someone loved that they kept with them in hospice would be important. Also, her grandmother's probably passed away. So there is that. But they're playing the game, a family game night, and they made like a funny comment about the doll. Sydney made this comment, and Tamaya was annoyed and says that she doesn't understand dark humor. I cannot stand people who do not understand dark humor. However, because I have a very dark sense of humor myself, but I know better, even with my dark sense of humor, to not ever make a joke about someone who's not alive. Number one, I don't think we should play with those who are resting in the upper room. They have lived their life and they don't need to be brought up on this planet. They don't need to be talked about, made fun of, or disrespected in any way. I just feel like that's the respectful thing. Um, so Tamaya, I don't think you should have had the issue with dark humor, but this humor related to your grandma, you were well within your right to be offended. You were well within your right to be offended. I don't care if it was a piece of gum that her grandma was chewing right before she passed away that Tamaya's keeping in like a weird canister or something. Like, if someone passes away and you have something you can hold on to from them, then do that. And it just, I didn't like that they made the joke. We're going to put a pin in it now because we're going to come back to it because it becomes a bigger thing. But how did you feel about the joke? Did you feel like it was dark humor, or did you feel like Sydney should have known better and shouldn't have? Like, that's the one mistake Sydney made. But do you
I
feel like
don't
she had a right to
feel.
be offended?
Yes, I do feel like she has, because to me, I don't think people realize how sensitive death can be in the timing matter of grief. And it seemed like her grandmother either is or may have passed away recently.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like y'all don't know where her state of mind is. Like, and I get people say, well, why would she go on the trip? People still have to live their life and make money. That's one thing I didn't realize when my father passed away, is that I still had to continue my life, because when my father passed, my life stopped, completely stopped. I had left my job. I was depressed. I was emotional. And a lot of the reasons was because I did not have the support of my other parent, my mother, because she didn't understand. My mom has both her parents, so she didn't understand how to really help me.
Oh, she
So it
sure
was,
does. That
yeah,
makes a
my mom.
lot of sense.
Yes. So my mom didn't know how to help me. So it was kind of like you. So you just never. So what that has taught me is I have to be very, very sensitive and make sure that I understand to meet somebody where they are, because I don't know what somebody could be dealing with. But at least she found the courage to still continue and to go. I don't think that that's right of them to make jokes and be insensitive to her right now. And it's going to look crazy because she is the only, representation of melanin on there. So it is going to be crazy for them to do that to her. I'm just saying.
I agree. I agree. I definitely agree. I heavily agree with that. Um, Anybody struggling with grief too, you guys, there are grief counselors that exist, group therapies, a lot of places. I don't want to speak for outside of the state of California. If you're in California, you need group counseling. You can look into Cal AIM, Cal Hope. There's a lot of programs that exist, especially if you're a Medi-Cal or Medicaid recipient. There's a lot of programs that exist to support people through grief in all 50 states. So I do encourage everyone, like, if you don't know, look into Medi-Cal, Medicaid, contact your social services agency, aka welfare office, whatever it is, because there is support for people, because grief tears people up. But anyone who's lost something, I empathize with you. I feel for you, and don't let nobody play with you and make jokes. That's all. Um, Now, after that, we see Leah go and meet with a family, and this family was odd. Now, the family works from home. They are known as what's called helicopter parents, which is essentially parents that don't know how to raise up off their kids and let them off the titty and let them be. They got to watch every little thing that they do, have to be a part of it. Helicopter parents, you guys make every child care provider, nanny, teacher's life a living hell. Stop it. Homeschool them if it's that deep. Don't hire help to not let them help. Never understand that. It just seems like a waste of money. And it makes it harder. Like, I remember working daycare, and this little boy, I'll never forget his name, Cameron. His mom, she had two kids, Cameron and his brother, and she would come to the daycare when Cameron was 2.5 to breastfeed him during nap time. And it disrupted all of the other kids until one day I talked to the daycare owner, Miss Joyce. Shout out Miss Joyce. I love her to death. And shout out Miss Dorothy. She just turned 104 this year. I love them, and they taught me everything I know. Love them, love them, love them. But I told them, I said, Miss Dorothy, she making my job harder. I got 16 kids sleep and 4 infants, and she want to come in here loud and sing songs. It wasn't just the breastfeeding. She was a helicopter parent. She had a problem with everything. I said, we will feed them what you want and do what you want, but you can't breastfeed them here. You better go sit in your Ultima, because you waking up everybody else. I don't think they understand the difficulty, but Leah, I noticed this parent, you didn't put yourself on this job. You sure didn't put yourself on this job because you know you don't want to deal with that. But she's thinking of putting Olivia on the job, and she keeps saying that she can bring stuff to the agency, but she can only bring one job at a time. How do you feel about the interview with the helicopter parents? I know it's not much to add to it, but you know.
Pretty much, I'm gonna echo what you said. I can't stand them kind of parents because they don't know how to let go, and it even gets worse when the kid gets older.
Mm-hmm.
I would she wouldn't consider me for this position because I would tell her, no, I'm a pass. This is a hard no for me. So you can go ahead and deal those
They
cards
said
to
no,
someone
thank
else.
you.
No, no, thank you. I'm
Say keep it
sorry.
to yourself.
They
Not
gonna
all my
get me
money is
banished from
good
the
money.
island, right? I'm gonna be
Not
banished.
banished from the
I'm gonna be
island.
no, because I already know I'm gonna cut somebody out. So that's why I'm like, nope, I don't want to be banished. Go ahead and give it to somebody else who got a little bit more patience.
I could respect that. I could respect that. And that's the thing I wish some of them would have done. And that would have been a good lesson for Leah. You got a nanny agencies, but nannies they're independent contractors. They can say no. They can say no. It is what it is. Um, but that family should be interesting. Interesting. And Leah, maybe you should have just brought like two other nannies and then found some other people around the island who were just there to party or something, because you don't have enough to employ six other nannies. How many of them are there? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven other nannies. Um, but Sydney is on the phone. And who would have thought she got a sick family member? It sounds like her stepfather is sick. From what it described, I believe she said he is struggling with throat cancer. I'm not trying to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but be careful what you eat, where you buy it from. Read the ingredients. I'm learning to do that as I've been on a weight loss journey. I've lost 67 pounds. I don't intend to gain it back. And I've just learned you got to really watch everything you eat, because you could buy something healthy thinking it's good for you, and something in it that's keeping the product fresh is actually doing something worse to you.
And also
Uh,
pay attention to the surrounding areas of your neck when things that get swollen and doesn't make sense. Like those are typically early signs. So start paying attention here, guys. Like I look at my neck all the time, or like their up neck, and I'm just like, oh yeah, we got to get to the gym, but nothing looks swollen, so we good.
That's actually true. That's actually really true. I have some thyroid problems. I've talked about it on YouTube a little bit, but not in detail or any of that. But I have to go and get cancer screenings every single year in the esophageal and neck area, because I do have GERD, gastrointestinal reflux disorder. Always have. I thought it was because of weight, but I still got the shit even small. And apparently having all that acid back up into your throat is not a good thing and can lead to esophageal cancer. I did not know that. So they be screening the heck out of me. If a thyroid nodule get big, they be like, So I feel for people who go through this. Tracy Braxton is also someone who experienced what Sydney's dad, I think it was, she said something of the tongue or throat with his cancer. But it's the same thing with Tracy Braxton. I think the problem with this area is a lot of people think, oh, maybe I'm just catching a cold. Maybe it's just a scratch in the throat, and it's so much more. So I do want to issue prayers to Sydney's family and her stepfather, just because cancer is not just poisonous to the body of the person who has it, but it poisons the hearts and struggles of those who love someone who is experiencing cancer. Like, I feel like those supporting their loved ones sometimes get lost in, the fact that the person with cancer is struggling, but they are also struggling. So I felt for Sydney, but she tells the group, I do feel like Sydney, just to not to be petty, if you have a family member that is struggling and fighting cancer and you're worried about if their life is going to be preserved or not, maybe don't make jokes about a bear, or what was it that Tamaya had, a doll that belonged to her grandmother in hospice. I think you're muted. I didn't hear what you just said.
No, I said doll. It was a.
Oh, I just
My
saw it.
grandmother has one she has two. So we have an ugly rag doll that she got from my cousin in New Orleans that she brought from, Voodoo Village or whatever that's called. She has one of those, and then she has a China doll that she has sitting on her piano. So my grandmother has a similar doll to that.
I feel like a lot of grandmothers do. My grandmother has like a porcelain China doll that she had. I was her first grandchild, and I guess she wanted it to look like me. And that damn doll do look like me, but it scared me. I turn it around every time I go over there.
No, I'm gonna send you the picture of the one my cousin gave her. My cousin had my grandmother messed up. I'm gonna send you the picture of it. Don't scream on. your pre-recorded.
Hot Mess Express, Hot Mess Express. Now later on, the group learns that a family was met on brunch. This is from Leah, and the family wants to hire her, and they want to hire somebody else. Tamaya spoke up, and Sydney says that Tamaya is always having a problem with her and with something. Tamaya mentions the baby doll comment, and Sydney, if you knew what the doll meant to the girl, and Tamaya says you knew what it meant, and she has not lied on this camera once, so I'm gonna side with her, not because she's the only Black girl, but because she ain't lied once, and she seemed like one of them Christians that really values being everything that the Bible wants us to be. If someone has mentioned the importance and significance of a doll, and you don't remember them mentioning that, that's effed up. Because I did take into account that maybe Sydney didn't remember, but I don't have to know you to remember something that's close to your heart. Like, I don't know. I do work in clinical case management and social work, so it's kind of part of my job to remember things about people that are relevant. But even prior to my degree, prior to getting into mental health, prior to healthcare, like if someone tells you something like that pivotal, you remember. And I get that you could still forget, but it was Sydney's attitude about it. She said sorry, but she aggressively told Tamaya to drop it. And I understand that she has a lot going on with her stepfather, but baby girl, your stepfather still got a shot. Her grandmother doesn't if she was in hospice. And I just feel like I would have been on Sydney's side had she not been like an asshole with her response to Tamaya. Like, just say, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Going forward, I'll remember and we'll never speak on it again. You don't need to tell her to drop it. Like, you don't need to do that. That's where them fighting words, if you was on any other show, a glass of water, something would have been thrown on you. Like, you don't tell anybody to drop it when it comes to like grief, like, or family. They're not going to drop it. It's their family. But it was a hot mess. I didn't like how things exploded, of course, after the drop it. Olivia and Leah ran after Sydney, and Tamaya was like, yep, the Three Musketeers run after her, and they're all getting mad and coming at her. But honestly, this is the problem, and this is why Leah is a horrible boss and should not be leading anybody, let alone nannying, because no one should feel like you're the Three Musketeers. But people feel that way because you got your friends in the house. You should have had other nannies in the house, not your friends, or a house full of friends that nanny, because this is ridiculous. It's not fair to other people. But Tamaya she came at Sydney hard. Okay, she was not playing about her nana. She was not playing about her grandmother. And honestly, I don't blame her. Now, I did not like that she came at Sydney's church. She was like, and you go to this mega church, and obviously you're not getting. I'm like, wait a second. You could read that girl for filth, but do not mention her dying stepfather, and do not mention church. You just don't attack people for those types of things. I think it's classless. And I think a lot of Christians attack other people for not being a Christian or as good of a Christian as them. And this is what turns a lot of people off to church or to getting closer to God. So watch yourself, Tamaya, because that shit wasn't okay. Now, Sydney was wrong to make that joke, and she was wrong to aggressively apologize and make her mistake against you about her. But you didn't have to bring up her church, her family, and all of this other stuff, her religion. Like, that to me was messed up. Now, the next morning, Sydney did realize her wrong and apologize, which made me like her even more, because you slept on it, calmed down, came back down, and gave a genuine apology. But I don't know how to put it. If I was Tamaya, I wouldn't have forgave Sydney. As soon as you told me to drop it, I would have been like, bitch, I'm about to drop your ass, square up. That's what I would have done. And with Tamaya, I cannot side with you. I don't care what she talked about. I don't care if she talked about your dead mama. I don't care. You don't fight fire with fire. And you've been on here preaching about being a good person and not cursing and coming at people. So I want you to live and stand for what you represent. So you don't need to bring up what she's going through right now. Because at the very least, even though grief is a big thing, she don't know if she's going to have to experience that grief yet. she's actively dealing with someone very sick. And I don't think Sydney like meant any harm by her comment. I really think she was just trying to play the game that they played. But when it's something personal to people, it can be misconstrued. But how did you feel about that whole interaction, the issue, the apology, all of it?
Um, to me, I don't know why Sydney was passive aggressive when it came to the apology. Like that was weird to me. You were wrong. You knew you were wrong. Like she's still trying to process this. Once again, that's why I said grief is very tricky. And I think that anything that's going to be sensitive around the subject, you don't need to be passive aggressive with her just because she feels a way about that. Now, granted, I do also agree that Tamaya was wrong, 100%. I don't think that you should even have touched on it, especially because it looks like get back. It looks like you're just trying to get back at her because you now feel away, and two wrongs don't make a right. This is something that's sensitive. It's not like she got on a bad wig or her outfit is ugly. She's literally dealing with a sick relative, and I think this could have been a moment where maybe you could have connected with her, still say, hey, no, I deserve an apology, but how about I try to connect and let you know, like, I'm here for you because I literally just went through losing somebody that was important to me or about to lose somebody that's important to me.
Mm.
So I think that should have been a way for her to connect with her and maybe try to understand her in the frustration more so than trying to get her get back or get her look back.
I agree. I agree. They just both handled it wrong, but I don't think, but they're both still like kind of my favorites for this season. It's just unfortunate it happened, but hey, Tamaya is proof you could stand up for yourself without saying a single curse word. So maybe we all get a little better. Um, Olivia is watching a little girl of the helicopter parents. Her name is Amani. Now, I saw shout out to the actual Million Dollar Nanny somewhere on Instagram and all of the nannies who are really working in these communities because they pointed out something that I thought when watching this. She decided to paint the little girl's nail because that little girl could not sit still and needed Ritalin or something. Okay, she could not sit. That was not normal energy, especially for a little girl. It just was not. You could tell that she's kind of allowed to do whatever the hell she wants in the house, probably because her parents are always home. And I feel like how active that little girl was, she was very cute, but I feel like that's why two people who work from home want a nanny because they probably don't know what to do with her, more so that mama. And Olivia was like, I have cool, tricks up my sleeve, and pulls out her purse and starts painting the girl's nails. Never paint any kid that does not belong to you's nails. Never change their hair. That's why kids be coming home looking toe up from school. Okay, if you came in pigtails and your pigtails is lopsided, your pigtails is lopsided because people get upset about things like that, which I can understand. Some people don't believe in nail polish, or you're a little kid like me who the regular nail polishes before they came out with gel used to like break me out so bad that my parents would have to take me to Children's Hospital here in Oakland. When younger, you just don't know. You're getting to know them. And the mom comes and sees that the nails are painted because she's weirded out that her child is sitting still. And the mom is like, you should have asked me. This was my moment. Don't hire a nanny if you're going to do this. This was one of the worst parents that we could have possibly watched. This mom was worse than the G's. This mom was worse than the G's. Like, you're upset at me because I painted your kid's nails. I understand that, but to call it the moment was weird. If she just would have been like, you needed to ask me first, fine. But when she said, that was my moment, I'm like, baby girl, if you're going to have your kids in daycare, you got to understand that you're going to miss some moments. You're going to miss some moments. And if you don't want to miss the moments, then get off your ass and get your child under control so she's not running around like a wild animal. And then maybe it wouldn't happen. But I also want to call out that Olivia has zero skills as a nanny or someone to work with children, because there are other ways to calm kids down than giving them something. No shade. If you see a dog and a dog is acting a fool, because I used to be a dog trainer for 10 years, I can't help but think that way. I'm not going to give the dog a treat to shut the dog up. You're not teaching them anything. Like, get it right. I just don't understand why she felt like, oh, I have to do this. Instead of coming up with a game, you could have played hide and seek. You could have got paper and started drawing stuff, flashcards. There's so many things you could have done with this child other than paint her nails. Because if she can't sit still, what make you think she's going to sit still for the damn nails to dry? But I get it. I got the mom side. I also understand Liv's side. But she did talk to the mom. At first, the mom made it seem like she was going to fire her. Olivia kind of sat in the slide, crashed out a little bit, called Leah. Leah was like, well, you better figure it out. It's interesting, Leah. You have a lot to say about all these other nannies, and you guys need to thank me. But the nannies closest to you are the ones messing up the most, including yourself. So I'm just because that's common sense. You should know better than to paint the nails of a kid that you're just meeting, who has helicopter parents. But she got her job back. She got her job back. But how did you feel about all of it? Because I didn't feel like she deserved her job back.
No, she didn't deserve a job back. I mean, I'm gonna start with Leah because that actually pissed me off. Like when she said it like that, it's like, no, you give her the tools and de-escalation. What can she say to this helicopter mom right now that could help resolve this issue and not taint the
Fix it.
reputation? Like, just fix it. Like, no, what tools can you give her as the leader of this pack? What tools can you give her that can help her rectify this situation? That's what I'm saying. That's what I said. Leah be full of it. I'm telling you, she do. Because to me, when she said that, I was like, well, wait a minute. Ain't you supposed to be the leader?
That's where
So this is,
managers manage.
yes. Aren't you supposed to be helping? I guess you say if I find y'all to work, y'all got to deal with it on your own. I guess that's what you're doing, Leah. But I would think because you're, the head honcho in charge, that you would be more willing to give them tax and tools to help them when they fall short like this. So I'm gonna
Where was
start
this
that.
energy that you have for Olivia or for Taylor for Olivia? Because Taylor lost her job and got her job back too. Got her job back, got y'all recommendations, had y'all at parties also. Olivia did the same mistake, and you just
See,
fix
the
it.
key word that you said in there, friend, was got us invited to parties. The operative word is party. That's why it was okay for her not to go off on Taylor. This ain't doing that same thing. This helicopter mama look like she don't even go to dinner parties or nothing like that. So yeah, I'm just one of those people that I felt like Leah was out of line. Yes, she was out of line to paint the baby's, nails and stuff. And yes, I don't honestly feel like the nannies in these time really have the best quality of care versus Aunt Jemima and Thelma and
No,
stuff.
that's a terrible kind of offensive to those who are nannying. They do a good job. These nannies suck. I've worked with some incredible nannies in recent times. Most nannies do not act like these people. That's why I had mentioned that so many actual nannies were upset with the depiction on the show because a lot
Hmm.
of people have that mindset of Aunt Jemima, unattractive Hispanic nannies, and help in the house. But like even that was a negative stereotype that was just pushed too heavy. I don't know. I just feel like the people on this show are unprofessional. I spoke on this in, I think it was episode 1 or 2, when she was
Hmm.
working with the three dads. Olivia was having a conversation with them about how their parents could end up divorced and they lose their money and then your life changes. And
Yeah.
that wasn't appropriate. Like Olivia should not be nannying anybody, like in my opinion, more so than Leah, because she's the only one out of everyone on the cast. Even Taylor addressed kids appropriately, but Olivia was discussing stuff that's not appropriate to discuss with kids. She has now painted nails and overstepped boundaries, and she looked frazzled when that little girl was running around the jungle gym. When most nannies would say, let her run, and just comment, look at you go, let them tire their ass out.
Right. Because I sure would have. I would have too. I'd have been like, okay, just don't hurt yourself. I'm watching you.
All right, as long as she doesn't hurt herself, let her run away,
Yeah,
let
just
her
hurt
run
yourself. Yeah,
around.
let her do it around. And then the thing about she's in her own space, so it's not like but these
I'm
this
telling you, the parents, they helicopter and everybody else but their own kid because cute little girl, you could tell she just don't have structure. And people
nope,
think because they have money and wealth and can afford the kid that that's enough, and it's
no,
not.
no.
It's definitely not. The next day we get to see Sydney has decided to choose Mitchell to come nanny with her. I felt like Mitchell was a smart choice and the safest choice. Um, Mitchell ends up calling Taylor's dad while working. I was confused. I was very confused because, listen, I got early on, as we know in episode 8, he'll propose. Spoiler alert. If you watch this far, I'm sure you know that. But it didn't seem like he really officially asked for hand in marriage. He just kind of talked around and was like, I love her, right? And then when you should say, like, I want to marry her. Hell, I was 17. My husband was 18, and he asked my dad. My parents were like, what? He said, can y'all sign the form so I can marry her? Made it very clear. Okay. But I don't know. He was talking in circles, and I was confused more so because Taylor, you made it seem like you had these awful parents that, oh, Jesus. You made it seem like you had these awful parents that were like not around, not present. You said you weren't close with your sister. Your mom had some drinking problems and some other stuff. You said you never heard I love you growing up. You lacked love. You don't have good relationships, but your relationship is good enough for this man to know your father, have his phone number, and call him. Anybody else catch that, or is Mrs. Best reaching? Please tell me if I'm reaching, because I can accept it.
I don't think you're reaching. I think that, like, for the perspective of how long they've been together, she could have brought him around the family, but still not have the best relationship with them, and then them kind of taking a liking to him and him keeping and maintaining that. So I feel like for me, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't feel like this applies to Taylor though, in the sense of I feel like Taylor is spoiled.
Yep.
And I feel that she is entitled.
Yep.
And I think that her parents probably gave her a taste of reality.
Yep.
And she didn't
took
like
that
it.
as something else.
Yeah, she took it as something else because one of the things that she does is her responses and her perception of things typically is very, alluded. It's like almost to a point where I'm like, okay, if I didn't see it with my own eyes, I probably wouldn't believe her. That's kind of how I take her. I take it like if there were no cameras here, Taylor couldn't tell me this story because I wouldn't believe her.
He said if no cameras was here, I wouldn't believe it out of
I would,
thing.
yeah, I wouldn't believe her just because everything is so exaggerated. Like I'll even give you an example. Even with her catching Mitchell at the beach, that situation wasn't explained at that time, but because of how crazy she acted, if Taylor was telling me the story and then I got back that she was acting crazy and just doing the most at the beach in front of the kids and stuff, I wouldn't have believed that situation was that if she would have told me that. I wouldn't have believed it because her behavior and her thought process really does confuse the message she's trying to convey to people a lot of the time. So yeah, I don't believe I don't it's not that I don't believe that her parents were horrible. I just think that I can't agree with her in the perception of how I see her and then the fact that her dad didn't even seem like he was, mean at all. He just seemed like, okay, well yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Because a lot of people being like, if people are spoiled, a lot of times those who are spoiled don't realize that they are spoiled. So that's a very, 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 very good point. What did you send me? Oh, I've seen those dolls. I know exactly where that came from. I know
Mhm.
exactly where that came from. Back on track with the doggone video. I agree with everything James said. I think it explained it appropriately. Either way, I'm happy that Mitch is doing the right thing. But if it takes a man flying to another country and continent, working with people that he does not know and has never met before to figure out that he needs to propose to me after it comes out on national TV that he was kissing on friends who were harassing the person he's proposing to, I don't think their marriage will last a shot in hell. And if it does, they them married couples, because there are a lot of married couples out there that'll make y'all think that is right just because they together for a long time. But just because you together for a long time don't mean you've been together with a good time. So I don't know what they're gonna do, but I guess congrats. Shout out to her dad, Tay Tay. Yeah. The last thing we're gonna discuss from this episode, it wasn't long at all, is Mrs. G, Camilla. Listen, Mrs. G, I know you're probably not watching this. You have so much money. You don't care to watch a YouTuber like me. But if somebody could get this message to her some way, somehow, hire a stylist. Just because you can afford it doesn't mean you should buy it. Just because you like it doesn't mean it looks right on you. And maybe the outfit that you hated on Sydney for, because you was concerned your titties, her little A cups, maybe you should show a little bit of yours a little bit. Because I just don't like how this lady dressed at all. And she's too rich to be looking a damn fool on TV. But Mrs. G calls Sydney and request that Sydney and Jack come to Paris, France. Je suis la Paris. Love it. I love Paris. I love Paris. I love Paris. I love Paris. I can't say it enough. I just like the architecture in that part of the world. And I love how rude they are. I love it. Tamaya congratulated them. She's not a hater. The whole group comes over. Sydney told them what the plan was and says that they want to fly them out tomorrow, next day. And Leah's upset because Leah, you ain't slick. You want to start a nanny agency, or are you looking for your next Kardashian family to work for? And the Kardashians still have small kids. So I'm like, why didn't they keep you on? Other questions I have. But, you know, Leah was a hater. She was upset. Now, I do understand her being upset. I have no respect for Leah as a leader. And honestly, as a nanny, I question her too, because regardless if that's your friend, if that baby was in the house when you slept with that man, you are wrong. You are wrong. As soon as money comes through your hands for something, I don't care if you've known them 40 years. If James has a baby with his partner and then they say, hey, Amina, I know you have a 20-year plus history nannying, which I actually do. Can you watch the baby? We'll pay you. Even if they pay me $1 each time I watch them, because I wouldn't really charge them more than that. If I accept that dollar, kind of like attorneys would be like, yep, now I can represent you type energy, I would have to act professionally. Now, we could be friends, we can hang out, but if I sleep with James, if he's a single dad or something, while on the clock, like that's not appropriate and it's not okay. If you'll do that with one, you'll do it again. I truly believe that. But I do understand why this lady would be upset at that. However, your friend made it very clear where she's at. Sydney drew a line in the sand when shit got too unprofessional. She made it very clear, I'm not voting for you, Leah. I'm sorry. And this is why. She's able to separate business from personal. A lot of people struggle with this. So I actually commended Sydney for being able to do that. But Leah is pissed off at them working for the G's only because she says the G's hate her. Baby, they hate you because of your behavior. It all comes back to you, and you are finding every other way to not be accountable. They hate you because of you, not Sydney. Mind you, they could not stand Sydney. They didn't like her attitude, their outfit. They thought she was too pretty. They didn't trust the husband around her. Now they want her to work for them because regardless of any of that, they saw past their personal beefs, and even the G's were professional and said, we're going to choose who shows up and does right. Now, Sydney screams at not Hannah. She screams at Leah. She's pretty much, it's not about friendship. It's about business. I said, oh, you right. But I wouldn't have screamed at her after I just gave you $3,000 for this Airbnb to only work one job and not get any other jobs because of you and your coochie. Not mad at it. Not mad at it. But I kind of feel like that's whack, Leah, if this is your actual friend outside of here who kept your secret. How dare you get upset at Sydney for working for this family she didn't even really want to work for like that in the first place? How dare you get upset at her for continuing on and doing a good job and representing your company? Because you can't do it. Somebody had to. But how did you feel about that?
The audacity of her to even get upset was just baffling me because, man, you're in this because of what you did. You shouldn't have opened your mouth and said anything. If you did the wrong crime and it didn't affect anybody and it didn't get out publicly, then what are you talking for? You did this to yourself. So I don't want to hear this. You're mad because, they got an opportunity to go out of country and be with this family. And you're jealous because that's all this is. It really, when it comes down to it, she's jealous and she's angry that something that she did caught up to her, which it was going to do it anyway. Yep. So, because trust me, it may not have been in this story, but you probably would have slipped up again. And then that would have probably been it. Because usually that's how that happens.
Yeah.
That's how that happens. So, oh well. So have a good time.
That is true. Okay, we are definitely at the end of this. Bro, come on. Jesus. We're definitely at the end of this video. My cat has come into the frame. He keeps doing this lately. He wasn't doing this for like 2 years. Now I think he's curious about the internet and all of that and whatever I'm doing on the screen. But we have reached the end. That is all that happened. with this video, you guys, on Tuesday of next week. What day is that? That is the
21st.
Yeah, so 21st is when the final video for Million Dollar Nannies will be out. I am going to do that as a live stream just because it was quite a season. I also want to say thank you to everybody who supported these videos. I did have a good amount of views, and I saw that you guys were watching thoroughly from beginning to end. So myself and James really appreciate all of that. I will be replacing the slot for this show with Married at First Sight. So be on the lookout for that on Tuesdays and Fridays. Outside of that, I appreciate you, James. I hope everybody has a good day. Do you have any final thoughts before we dip out?
No, this was a great show. I truly enjoyed myself. I can't wait to do the finale live, and I look forward to Married at First Sight.
Yeah. Oh, Lord. Yes. I just got to learn these people's names. But I appreciate everybody. I hope y'all consider liking the video on your way in or out. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, that is okay. Feel free to check out some playlists on the channel. Check out the videos we're doing. Anybody watching is supportive, so I appreciate that. Also consider subscribing to James's channel. We are trying to get James up to 500 subscribers. He is close. I'm trying to get to 1,000. Let's support each other and uplift each other. But other than that, we'll see you guys for the next one. Adios.